Okay, you know what time it is, man. We got to talk five-star matchups. Pittsburgh Steelers, Cincinnati Bengals, and man, I cannot wait. So, let's dive right into this thing, man. First matchup we got to talk about are these Steelers inside linebackers. Devin Bush, Robert Spillane, but more importantly, the return of Miles Jack versus Joe Mixon. Now, when you're thinking about Joe Mixon, dynamic running back, great athletic ability, and productive player throughout his career. And the thing is, when you're watching him this season, his rushing numbers haven't been elite per se, but his impact has always been felt, whether it's him as a traditional running back or him in the screen game, man, getting him the ball in the flats and allowing him to just get north and south. Coming off of the Panthers game, which was the last one they had prior to their bye week, he had a game for the ages, right? In terms of on the ground, touchdown scored, everything. But when you're talking about our inside linebackers, the thing that we've been seeing from them is the crazy productivity consistently and their ability to match this type of energy, this type of beast right here. And dating back to the first matchup, we did do a really good job of containing him. Granted, the numbers reflected something different, but the flow of the game, he did not have that type of impact. And that's what we're going to need again. If we can stop him in terms of Joe Mixon and minimize his impact and keep this offense being one-dimensional, I love that for the Steelers' chances to get the dub on Sunday. All right, so now it's time for that second matchup. And you know I got to talk about our offensive linemen. Now listen, I talk about our tackles each and every week because they are so critical and so important to Kenny Pickett's success right now. When you have a young quarterback, man, or any quarterback, but particularly with young quarterbacks, you have to keep those guys clean. And this is one of those matchups, man, when you're talking Dan Moore and Chuks Okorafor, man, they got two good guys they're going to be going against in terms of Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard. Now, career-wise, Trey Hendrickson has been elite with his productivity since joining the NFL. Sam Hubbard has been really consistent as well. In this season, they're still doing good in terms of their productivity, but the numbers aren't over the top. And part of that is because of the interior part of this defensive line. It is not as consistent, and that reflects on Sam and Trey. But the thing is this, man, we're talking about Dan and Chuks for the Steelers. They've been having their success this season. They've been really doing a good job at times, keeping the pocket clean, showing that they're not the tackles from a year ago, that these guys have improved and they continue to take steps in the right direction. Now, I'm not saying that they're where we want them to be completely just yet, but they are getting there. And this is one of those matchups, man, where they have to win more than they lose here, man. We understand that they typically struggle with your speed rushers or your super athletic and bendy guys. Well, when you're talking about Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson, that is not their forte. They are big body, long 4.3 caliber DNs. I do feel like Dan and Chuks should be able to continue having success in this matchup based on what they did in week one. So we shall see what that looks like going forward, man. But I am really excited about that one as well. Alrighty. So now time for that third matchup. You know I can't wait to talk about this, baby. I got to talk about my little guys, man. And they're not little guys. They're just shorter in stature, thinner in weight. But the cornerbacks, because these dudes been hitting, man. Shout out to our corners, man. I'm talking Cam Sutton, Levi Wallace. We will see what's up with the Keller Witherspoon and his availability. Obviously, he's been dealing with the hamstring. But they got two really good receivers, man, in terms of Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. Now, no Jamar Chase, which is still going to be a huge asset for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We know what Jamar Chase is, and we know what he can continue to grow into, but hey, he don't have to be that this week, so we are really excited about that. But with Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, man, still really good dynamic receivers, consistent receivers. Both of these guys are on pace to be 1,000-yard receivers this season. But at the same time, when we talk about our cornerbacks, Cam Sutton, Levi Wallace, man, these dudes have been playing at a high level. Cam Sutton in particular, his consistency, his playmaking ability, his veteran leadership, he has clearly been, one of our most steady corners on this team, one of our most steady players on this team. And I do anticipate that continuing because the Jamar Chase element is the part that is scary at times for the corners that we currently have. But when you're talking about Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, they're still really good players, but we just match up a lot better with those type of guys, man. And I'm really excited to see how Cam Sutton and Levi Wallace really go out there and battle these guys. You know, if Akello's able to come out there as well, man, that just adds to what we currently have. But man, this is one of those ones where it's going to be good on good. But if we win more of these, man, because obviously we know smashing the run is the most important part. Joe Burrow is going to want to put this ball in the air. We're going to have to win in these matchups, man. But that's going to be the one for us, man. Have that popcorn ready, baby. It's going to be good on good. Now, it's time for that fourth matchup in the 5-star matchups. And this one, I'm excited to talk about because I'm hoping that the names that I have listed in terms of Terrell Edmonds and Damontae Kazee, they're not the only ones out there. Because it is looking like Minkah Fitzpatrick, who was a full participant in practice, man, it looks like he's going to give it a go. Or the arrow is pointing in the right direction. So we will see what that looks like if he is available to play, if he's, out there. Is it a snap count limit or anything like that? But as a whole, man, our safeties, those three guys, Terrell Edmonds, Damontae Kazee, Minkah Fitzpatrick, depending on if he's available, versus Joe Burrow. Now, we know in that first matchup, man, we got 4 interceptions off of Joe Burrow. And that was a big, big reason why we were able to get out of that stadium. Well, since that game, he's only had 2 interceptions since then. He's been doing an excellent job protecting the ball. Now, he's not perfect protecting the ball because it still has been some times, even dating back to that Carolina Panthers game, where he was putting that ball in some places where it's like, hey, man, this DB could still make a play on this ball. This guy probably could have made a interception right here, but they didn't capitalize on it. And tip your cap to Joe Burrow for that. But when you're talking about our safeties, this is what they do. Minkah Fitzpatrick, he's a ball hawk. When you talk about Damontae Kazee, we saw that firsthand last week that he's a ball hawk, and his history in the NFL also reflects that. When we talk about Terrell Edmonds, this guy has steadily improved to the point where now you're seeing him make plays when the ball is in the air. So with all 3 of these guys, they're going to have to be completely buttoned up and on their A game because Joe Burrow is playing at a high level right now. This guy's found his groove. He's looking like the Joe Burrow that everybody's excited about and the guy that we're hoping our quarterback can grow into. But this is one of those ones where he's not going to give you a ton of opportunities. He's not going to make a ton of mistakes. But when he does, you got to capitalize on it, man, because a turnover or 2 could be the big difference in this matchup. No different than when we started the season out with them as well. So, it's got to make it happen. But now it's time for that 5th and final matchup. And I got to talk about the young guy, KP8, Kenny Pickett, versus Jesse Bates and Von Bell. Now, what am I talking about specifically? The turnover element. Last week, Kenny Pickett, awesome job. Protected the ball, no turnovers. That was major. That's what we needed versus the Saints, and it was a big reason why we were able to get out of that stadium. But when you're talking about this matchup right here, Jesse Bates and Von Bell, collectively, they're combined for 6 interceptions on the season. Von Bell has the lead right now in terms of 4, Jesse Bates with 2. Now, typically, it's a little bit flipped, but with both of those guys, man, they are still really good players. They have a knack for making plays on the ball. And for Kenny, we understand that he has shown a little bit more of an ability to turn the ball over. This is one of those ones where he has to be not careful, but just cognizant, understanding when he's going to take some of his chances and understanding when to be smart with the ball. Because these are 2 players that can take advantage and ultimately either trick you into something or, just make a great play. That's what they are capable of. And it's going to be really important for Kenny to understand that and just stay locked in. But if he can continue building on what he did last week in the sense of cutting down on the turnovers, if he does that, that is a huge, huge element for this Steelers offense and for this team, because this is definitely a game that they should win, but they have to protect the ball, and Kenny is going to have to be playing at a high level, but more importantly, not giving them extra possessions. All right. So those are the 5-star matchups that I have for this Steelers Bengals matchup. You let me know your thoughts, man. Some key matchups that you're looking to, but either way, I greatly appreciate you for tuning in. Oh, and hit that like button while you're at it. And until next time, baby, peace.